Hello. Welcome back again. 2 streams in a row. I know, it's crazy, right? 2? Well, might as well pack it in. We had a good run, so. Welcome, Mike Boy. Doppler Effect. Sorry, I said Mike Boy because somebody's saying that. Maybe he's here too, but hello, Doppler. Welcome to this MIDI stream, as it were. I don't know. Just trying to make the barrier of entry of just streaming less, and I'm just going to kind of stream this and figure it out. In this case here, it's going to be the Roland SC 88ST. We'll discuss it more in a minute here, but I have been on a MIDI binge as of late, so everyone's having a good retro night tonight, or had a good retro week since we talked last. Hello, Pixel. Yes, that's kind of the thing. Easier to do with current family setup and everything, so that it's I like starting early, but too because it does run pretty late as it did earlier. So, um, hey, Bruce Lee, welcome. Just, get a little more runtime towards the end of the night so it doesn't get so late. It's been pretty nice that when we're done streaming, even streaming like 3 hours, it doesn't feel like that late anymore by comparison. So, you need to see Bluebeard. It is indeed MIDI time. With some caveats we're going to discuss here in a bit too. But I have, and I'll figure out some way to stream. I'm hoping maybe to make a video on it, but like everyone who gets into MIDI, right? You start with 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then all of a sudden they just populate like the whole basement. There's MIDI devices everywhere. So I built a pretty big MIDI tower, honestly, and I need to probably make a video on it or something. But since the streaming setup is on the other end of the basement, I can't just shift over to stream over there. But we'll do this. I bought this particular device pretty cheap because I wanted to have a permanent MIDI setup here with the streaming one, and I've used emulation things, and those are great too. But I want an actual MIDI device of some kind. And the one we have, there we go. We have a blinky light cam here. Yeah. So this is the Roland SC-88ST. And you can see my desk is very clean over here, but it is you can tell it doesn't have any of the display or anything, but it's an SC-88. The same as that device. It just doesn't have any screen. It does do blinky lights. We checked those out too. It does have a interesting button down here that maps the SC55 map to it. It's not perfect, but it sounds pretty good in my ears. So, or to my ears. But it's a MIDI device that I can have hooked up here and play MIDI stuff, which we're gonna do tonight because there's so many games. That's what I've discovered. That's what I discovered, like, when I've been going through games, because the MIDI stack I have now, I have an MT32 as well, like a hardware one. How many games supported these things? That's what's so crazy. As I'm going through the catalog and looking, and especially looking at my big box game, many of them have a label that says, support general MIDI or MT32 or Roland or whatever. There's so much support. I think we talked about that in Discord before. And the only thing I can think of is that, many of these games were composed on these devices. That's why there's so much support for them. As they composed it for that device. That's what the composer used to make the music, and then they, translate or downsample, whatever you want to say, to Sound Blaster equivalent sounds or ad-lib or whatever it was. Which is fine. I mean, that's what at least I grew up with, was a Vibra 16, and that sounded awesome to me, right? Indian Book has retro stuff, welcome. Yeah, you might be able to get the screen readout. I'm sure in software, but not in DOS here. That's what we're running on tonight, right, is DOS. There's definitely software for it. So what microphone did I use? I forget what it's called. It is I'm looking at here. The Q2U. I think it's I forget what brand it is. I always forget what brand it is, but Q2U. If you search for that one, it was a microphone that was recommended to me as a cheap but still punching above its weight microphone, because I don't need perfect, but this fit the need. I will say that because of the way the microphone is designed, you have to be really close. Get into that radio voice. You don't have much of a choice. In this case here, it's actually going directly from the PicoGus to the MIDI device. So in this case, this is the only one here. On the MIDI tower, that's a whole nother story, and I'll have to cover that in a video because that's a much bigger, deeper dive. But I do have a MIDI interface that has multi-in, multi-out to pipe to all different MIDI devices, because I have, let's see, 4 plugged in right now to the same stack that can then share in MIDI. Yeah, the tower. But yeah, I have a multi MIDI in out interface that lets you do full patching and everything to Destiny. And it's not that expensive, honestly, because you find people getting rid of old music gear, right? It's not that they're gamers per se. Many of the things I bought have been clearly from some music studio or a person upgrading their gear or whatever. But yeah, it turned into a rabbit hole pretty quickly with, I bought a mixer and it was bad and work. I tried to fix it, couldn't fix it, bought another mixer. And I mean, at the end of the day, I love the setup, but it took a while to get there. So I'll have to figure out a way to show that easier. Samson, yes, there you go. Samson Q2U. That is the microphone in question. It wasn't that expensive, honestly. I am using, so what I originally did, I have a mixer board over here, and I used XLR with this microphone. The problem with that is that in my environment here, I pretty much have to have some noise canceling thing on here. And to separate that out in OBS, excuse me, is really difficult because it expects all of it to come through one channel. The mixer I have supports sending each channel separately, but then it's pre-mixer, pre-faders. So you can't control the faders, which kind of defeats the purpose. So I ended up, the last part of this microphone, it also has a USB plug. So I'm using it through USB, and then my mixer is separate as well. So I have two devices in OBS, so that works for me. So right now you're listening to the USB version, which of course uses this built-in sound processing then, versus using XLR going to a mixer. The nice part with the microphone is flexible like that, but the biggest challenge I've had is that you really have to be close, and you need some way to take down the noise. It's pretty quiet down here, but it still picks up a lot, even with the pattern on it. So some just struggles. But as far as audio goes, I think that once you get it tuned in right, it sounds pretty good for what it cost. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was under $75, I think, if not less. I saw reviews talking about it. It punches well above its weight, and that's kind of what I was looking for. I don't need anything fancy, but I want something that sounds good. So, all right, we are now in DOS here. So, hang on, gotta check something real quick. Duty calls. That's the thing about in my line of work, work never really stops, even when there we go. We're gonna check back on that a little bit. So, yeah, thanks. I used to have, I think, one of the snowball ones, which was fine, but again, I wanted something that was kind of in between, premium, cheap, whatever. But I always liked the radio quality sound on this microphone, so I'm sure there's plenty of ones that are better, but this one has sounded really good for me anyway. So anyway, a couple of things with the SC-88. Of course, it is an SC-88, which is a later device then. So MIDI, evening, Brett B, welcome. Good evening, Bandana ZX. The MIDI stack, if you will, from Roland was like the MT32. Was, of course, the Uber MIDI device in the 80s, early 90s. And you get into some of the mid-range ones, like the SC-55, which is a more common one. SC-88 replaces that. So this has a map. You can switch to the SC-55 map, and we'll try that out too. And it uses the sound font that the SC-88 has to emulate the 55. So it sounds pretty close, but not exactly. But, you can get really split hairs when you get too far into this, rabbit's nest. So, but otherwise, so that means that some games sound a little different on the 88 than they do on the 55, and especially on MT32, because it is a pretty late MIDI device. So that's the drawback to this particular one. But that also means I have an 88, and I have a 55 over there as well, but it's in the rack. So we can check out some very basic games here. I have this hooked up to the mixer so I can control it independently. But, we will have to try this first, of course. Well, maybe we should do a sound comparison here just to, set the stage here. So we have just a sound blaster in the sky. I'm going to work on a new, spec card. Hello, Disappointed Sun 0813. Hello. Right now, I don't have a spec card rotating here because I kind of give up on that, but I'm going to figure out a new way to just have the specs below me if I have a machine I'm playing on. But this is a 486 100. This is the 4666 that has been upgraded to 100. So we now have 46. So we're going to use Time Blaster just to, see what the original stuff sounds like. So the comparison, because I mean, everyone needs a reminder. You go ad-lib. Show him his boss. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. 2 cents adjusted for inflation is very generous. I appreciate it. You're paying for my soda tonight. Or my soda. I had the Vidbar 16 in my machine when I grew up, so this is the sound I had, and, you know, I thought it was awesome. I think all of us did. But this machine does have a SoundBlaster 16 Vidbar in it, so that's what makes it so neat, because it is so typical for that era to have that. But well, the ad-lib uses the OPL or the ad-lib chipset, right? So the ad-lib and SoundBlaster would sound the same as far as like music goes, or am I completely wrong there? I am using the PicoGus as my MIDI out device. The thing with the PicoGus is that it's so convenient because it can do all these functions, and the MIDI out is intelligent MIDI, which helps with MT32, but also just a cable and MIDI to MIDI, and you're done. Like, you don't need to have any extra dongles or anything. It counts with all that. So that's why I think the PicoGus is such a fantastic deal for all it does, and makes MIDI stuff so easy. Union Mike Boy, now I can say hi. I said hi to you earlier, even though you weren't here. I think you're such a regular viewer. Did I say your name by habit? All right. That's loud. Nope. Sorry, it crashed. Try that again, because it has a demo doesn't work on this. So I got to get into the game. Blinky lights. I think it's or hitting the limit. 1 second. There we go. I think it was clipping, actually. Yeah, it was clipping. That's better. I had the gain turn up too high, so... The thing with using the SC-88 above all is because it's a later sound set. So we'll switch to the SC-55 mode, and you guys can see the difference. I will push the button, and it will switch on the fly, but it will not work, so... I guess, yeah. Let's do this. We'll switch to a different... We'll switch back. So here's the SC-55 map mode. Evening, John. Welcome. Appreciate all the thumbs up. If I had any hair, I'd be headbanging, so... I'm sure if you put an SC-55 next to this with the map, you will hear the difference. But right now, for this, it's a 55 as far as I'm concerned, especially when you're playing stuff, it doesn't really matter, but there's a distinct difference between the 55 and the 88, so there's a benefit to using the 55 map, especially for some of the older games that were really not composed for the 88 with the newer sound sets. I think I'm switching. You can hear how the guitar changes above also. Alright. Brightness set up a little high. Oh, you can't change the brightness here, can you? Oh, the brightness is not too high. Oh, it is. There we go. Apparently I had it boosted. Well, whatever. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why a lot of these ST devices, and I think, you know, there's an ST for the 55, there's an SC7. A lot of these devices were made for that purpose, like for gaming or just playback, versus like, you know, the MIDI devices we all kind of know and love, right? You're right, with all the screen, it's more for music production and being able to remap and do a bunch of stuff on it. We're literally just piping MIDI into it and listening. That's all we're doing, right? So we don't really need all that other stuff. Oops. So I have now these things hooked up to the mixer so I can actually separate the audio between the music. I can just mute the audio if I want to. Or the music. That's pretty neat. That's what I wanted the mixer board for in the beginning, but then I never hooked it up properly, so there we go. MIDI out cards is basically like an MPU 401 card, and I do actually have one in parts. I went in on a group buy to buy one card I need to solder up, but that's pretty much it, an MPU 401 card. So that's all it does is MIDI out, and provide the intelligent MIDI you need for some of the MT32 games. Where it feels like the 88 excels is, yeah, the quicker drum section, stuff like that, better guitar sound. It's very different. But that's what I love with the MIDI stuff too. You get such different sounds on all the devices, which is what makes it addictive to buy and collect them. So yeah, the Sound Blaster Live Drive, or whatever, those are pretty cool too. Again, made mostly for music production, right? It's funny because I had forgotten, I bought this 88ST, where did my mouse go? I bought this cheap because it has a problem. The volume only works at like max, and the problem with that then is that if I set the gain to high, it will clip. So, you know, I got it cheaper because of that, but I can live with that until I can open it up and take a look at that volume wheel, but that's fine. That's why I use the mixer board for it. So I gotta be careful with the gain. I think it's clipping already, so a little bit. Yeah. The 55 mode has a very distinct different like bass and everything. So again, you can go back and forth compare, but probably for the best like general use, it's probably better to leave it in the 55 map mode, honestly, for a lot of these games from this era. But I do like the 88. But where the 88 and some of the later devices shine is more in the electronic music stuff, when you get into Descent and things like that. This machine is the one I've been using in my MIDI stack, so I've been adding games to it, MIDI-related games, as many as I could find, and that's what I've been slowly building up. So we can test a whole bunch of games tonight, and maybe even play some, who knows. But if you guys have games specifically you want to listen to or see, let me know. I'll pull them up. I realized I never switched back to the Windows. Because if we go into Descent, nice little comparison. I love the setup menu for Descent. It is so easy to test the audio in. And Descent seems to have supported like everything too. I have to set to the ultrasound now, which is not plugged in, so we'll do Sound Blaster first. You guys can hear that, yeah. I think we can use OPL 3 on here. Honestly, I think this only has an OPL 2. There we go. Yeah, that didn't sound right. Yep. 46-100. This is the HP. There we go. Flickering. We have the HP 486 that I've streamed on before. It has the picogas in it, but it's been upgraded to 100 megahertz now because it needed raw power. Honestly, I happen to I've gotten a board from Sucra that had a 46133 processor on it, so I plopped it in this machine. Getting from 66 to 100 gives you a lot more performance in a lot of these more demanding games, like, you know, Duke 3D, Descent, all those kind of hard-to-run games from that era run a lot better on that kind of performance boost. There's a slight difference. This is a slight difference. Baseline dropped a little harder than I thought there. Of course, forgive me if I don't keep up on the mixing, because I'm switching source now so often for games so often. And then we can switch to the SC-55 map. Very different sound. And I feel like in some of this, the 88 has a cleaner sound for some of this electronic stuff versus the guitar or, you know, the like Duke 3D and Doom and those kind of games. So, sorry, I gotta do this when I have the actual earpiece on. I don't have any scratching things here, but let's see. We gotta go to Sound Blaster because I don't have. Sure, I think that's right. Nope, that's incorrect. I can't remember the settings. I've been using the ultrasound so long now. Not the music card. Change digital sound. That'll be 245. Yeah, it crashed the system. Pretty sure it did. Ah, yes, the days of conflicts and who knows what. I think I targeted something wrong, and yeah, rebooted this old school hardware freeze. And again, since it's a physical machine, I gotta get down here and do this. Yep, I sure did. I gotta look at the boot menu now and see what it says for the address, because I forgot. Because I've been using the picogas so much on this machine, I completely forgot what the actual address was to the Sound Blaster card. Oopsie. And this is not a fast machine, but as you can see, a 46DX4100. Again, that really made this machine fly by comparison. Because yeah, sure did. Of course, has Phil's excellent boot menu here. Let's see, it should show up here somewhere. Ah, that flew by. All right, well, we'll have to do the hard way. Blaster 227.3. Okay, that was it. 227.3. .227.3. Because I kind of just winged it between the Gus and the Sound Blaster, which happily coexist. You just got to set them correct. So, Sound Blaster. Did I already forget it? Did I really already forget it? Wasn't it 7.3? I couldn't set to 3, could I? There was no DMA change set, option for 3. RQ. I can't set a DMA 3. Well, that's a problem. Game doesn't support it. Neat. I guess I should have hooked up the Pico Gauss. I mean, we're not really going to play the game, but I wanted to at least get into the music. Huh. I wonder if there's a config file. Edit descent.cfg. There we go. You can't stop me. I'm the ultimate hacker. I need like cool shades here to put on. Hack the planet, you know. Yes, I'm invincible. Getting Revenant. We are just testing it with the MIDI here. Prepare for descent. There's something about the MIDIs from this era, just the rich sound, and it just feels like uncorked somehow. You listen to all the games that you played, and you hear the soundtrack in this capacity. It's just, man. I still love, for nostalgia's sake, the original ones on OPL and, you know, whatever, but MIDI ones, man. Switch to the 55 map here. And I'd argue that the 55 is probably my least favorite sounding within Descent of all games. I feel this is much better on 88 and also the Yamaha sound MIDI modules. They sound better to me. 55 just doesn't sound quite right in Descent to me, but personal taste, obviously. There, we're back on 88 mode now. See if the DMA change worked there. Yeah, as for nostalgia's sake, I mean, I think most of us probably experienced DOS gaming through a Soundmaster of some kind, 16 whatever derivative. At least I did, and everyone I knew. Oh, really? I remember that. Descent was weird because they supported so many things, so many sound cards. If you look at Descent 2 in the menu, we'll go into that in a bit here. Funk bass there. The one sad thing is we can't, without the display, you don't see what instrumentation is being used. But you do see that on the actual full display on the normal devices, so... It sounds different, but still cool. But here, I definitely prefer the 88 mode. Just feels richer somehow. And that varies again from game to game, so that's the thing of having the option to switch back and forth. I don't think I've ever listened to this track this far. But then, yeah, in Descent 2, they support, like, an absurd amount of different standards. Not just audio, but, like, video, too. I mean, it has 3D effects. It's got Power VR, I think. You can back me up there, Pixel. But I think Descent 2 supports, like, so many things. Like, an absurd amount of cards of, you know, video and sound. And then, yeah, 3D as well. Glasses, I think. I never listened to this track that far. It's pretty good. Yeah, we got audio now, so I just have to hack the files. That's the thing, is like you're playing on a 46 like this. I'm playing in low res mode, I think. It does not run good on a 4666. Like, yeah, that was the premier processor there, but when these games came out, I guess you should probably switch to the window that has the game. When these games came out, that 4666 was just not keeping pace anymore. These were pushing them, and you really needed a newer processor to play these games. So playing on 100 makes it much more palatable. And especially this is a game that is most happy on a P1, 166 or 200, right? I remember my descent here. I haven't prepared for descent for a while. SC-55 mode. Save the hostages by ramming into them. Yeah, like I said, in some games the 88 just sounds way better, so... True, it is... I don't think there's a clean way to play Descent in any way, shape, or form. There's always going to be a concession when it comes to that game. Just too complex with the 6 degrees of freedom movement. Yeah, I would probably not, if I'm going to sit down and play Descent, I probably would not play it on a... You play 9s, yay! Play it on a 46. This is a P1 game if I ever saw one, so... I think we're playing Descent. Descent 2! Yeah, that's the thing. I think that, at least from my perspective, resolution changes. DOS, man. At some point, I want to try the GBS control, because what you see up here is the GBS control sitting on top of it here. That's the one I used for streaming the Amiga last week. And I kind of want to try it as well for DOS and see if it handles that. Because, yes, you can get really sharp for capturing and everything, the way I have it set up. And it's not perfect right now. But if I could just plug and play and be quicker for stream purposes, that might be nicer, instead of having to fiddle with all the settings every time I, you know, switch resolution and stuff. It's great when I'm capturing, because then I can really dial it in. But as for playing, it's kind of a pain in the butt, so... yeah, exactly. There were so many different versions of that, and... first we need to do Sound Blaster first, right? Yeah. Same. Did I go into Descent 1? I went to Descent. Descent 2. Like, huh. Seems familiar. Oh, I gotta have a CD. Damn, I gotta go find the CD. I have it here somewhere? Green cop protection. I'd like actually bust out the actual box here. I think I had a loose CD for it as well. Somewhere, but I don't know where it went. We'll do it the proper way. I will promptly forget the CD in this computer and never find it again. It's funny because I was missing my GDI disk for Command & Conquer, and I found it at much, much later in the computer we had streamed Command & Conquer with, so that's where it was. Let's try that again. Came around to set up the CD. That's pretty cheap. I need to get a plastic thing on the ground here so I can roll easier, which is why I'm doing the kind of the grandpa shuffle here. Okay. All right, look at the settings. So yeah, we have set up, select VR device. Look at this, how many things it supports. Yes, it is, but in DOS, it's a little trickier. There are ways to load ISO images, and also, that's the thing that PicoGuys just added as well, which is ridiculous. He added support. If you plug in a USB stick, you can store ISO images for CDs on that and read them in DOS and everything. It's just nuts how much stuff he's added. Yeah, look at all these things it supports. I remember the premium was the VFX 1. I remember seeing ads for that in magazines, and they seemed like stupid expensive. Most of these are shades or glasses, I'm pretty sure. Sound music. Okay. So let's test. It's a regular Sound Blaster music. Some games really use this really well, so I can't really complain or say that, it was bad. But that's what we knew, and that was music, what it sounded like to me. And especially when I was a kid playing on my friend's 46 from my own 46, I have no idea. I didn't know there was anything better. I remember it came with the my compact came with like the media stack thing. I forget what it's called, but it looks like a hi-fi stack, gray, and you can plug in CDs and play them like a CD player. Thought it was so cool. All right, let's change that to general MIDI, shall we? Warning. If you have a SCSI device, tape backup, hard drive, or CD-ROM, please be certain that the port address defined for your general MIDI device is not in conflict with the SCSI port address. Conflicts between these two devices could cause data loss on any attached SCSI devices. They added this warning for a reason. Someone did this, or someone complained or found this. I've never heard of this, honestly, but it would make sense if it's using the exact same port, and you're trying to send out MIDI data there. It's going to try and corrupt the tape, I guess. That's pretty crazy. And that slap bass there. Fantastic. I'm just clipping a little bit, same way. I gotta mess with it some more, but it's pretty sensitive. I don't think, hopefully you guys can hear it, but I can see there's a clip warning going on here. It's not too bad, I guess, but because the device, I can't turn it down. It's like basically a full blast, so. Switch to SC55 mode. It's weird, it's clipping so much. Maybe the music in the game is just too loud. I was able to turn it down on the device, which seems to work. That's the thing, is going through all this stuff now, it is like re-exploring games, and I was just almost like giddy looking through my game boxes to see which ones support, MIDI and all that stuff, because a lot of them say on directly on the box. Or there it is. Oh, let's see. Damn old man now, I gotta read above my glasses. Compatible sound card doesn't even list it, but often they list Roland specifically on there, which is pretty cool. Let's test the Redbook audio. Does that work? I don't think the CD cable is hooked up, the audio cable in this computer, so that's not going to work. Cable is present, yada yada. Whatever. D2. Later. The music in Descent 2 is not as good as 1, in my opinion. I feel like 1 is just a little bit better soundtrack, but iconic, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing, too, with the Mac side, it's really fascinating because they didn't have, as far as like when the Power PCs or the Macintoshes and everything had just, here's the sound card, and it works great. Like, you don't have to worry about that stuff. You couldn't expand it, of course, but that's what you had. Do we freeze again? I think we're froze again. It is a real retro experience. And it had, you know, here's your Mac with the sound. You don't have to worry about it. So it didn't have the expandability that PC did. But it also didn't have this kind of stuff where you have to flip around and change settings and, you know, whatever. If you missed your IRQ or forgot to define and all that like that. So, you know, the Mac had that going for it. It was a lot more turnkey, at least from what I've experienced. He's dead, Jim. All right. We're at 2 hard resets and counting. That's kind of what happens when you start messing with the sound card stuff, because you're dealing with some addresses. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to play Descent 2, but again, I would not sit down and play Descent 2 on a 46. That's definitely a Pentium or newer machine, so. I have to find an audio cable. I think I ran out. That's what happened, is that, you know, like most of us, I picked those up over time, but then I ended up, like, I don't have enough of those cables, so I probably need to order, like, a pack of them. This machine is actually, I was trying to make it as clean and streamlined as possible to focus on DOS, because I didn't have a pure DOS machine that I just lined in. I do have Windows 3.11 on here. I didn't install that. I gave up. But I wanted something that was a DOS focus that just launches DOS and you play your games, you know, manually, kind of like I did back in the day. So that's why I wanted this to be basic. It does have a real spinning hard drive in there, and that one's making some sounds here and there. I'm waiting for the Pico IDE device to finish developing by Ian there. I'm really excited about that because, yeah, I have a lot of IDE hard drives that are eventually going to blow up, right? That's just inevitable. And the Blue SCSI is great for the SCSI side, but I feel like we don't have a good, well-supported, community-supported IDE emulator. There are, you know, many of these, the ones you get from AliExpress or whatever, that do IDE to SD card, but something that's currently developed, will get continued support, and is used by retro enthusiasts sounds like a dream to me, so I'm waiting for that. The bated breath. I think we pretty much have to go to Duke 3D, right? It's just I mean, it's Duke. You got to test Duke when it comes to MIDI. That's kind of like a given. Yeah, that's true. We're talking like, yeah, spinning this 24 terabytes, or because I know that you know, there are so many ways to store things these days, and a lot of stuff is a lot cheaper than it was back then. That's for sure. Let's see. So choose music card. We'll go Sound Blaster. There it is. I think grab bag sounds good in just about any configuration. Can't really argue with that one. I think the line out is set really low on this computer and mixer. Yeah, it's funny. I used to think like, oh, I'll have to keep adding storage or whatever. My server now has like just a few terabytes, and since I don't really stockpile like movies or anything or media besides my own filming stuff, so I don't fill up nearly the space I thought I would. So I built a Linux server using just a RAID in there, and there's plenty of space for me, and I can expand it easily. So that's enough of that. Here's where the 88 sounds a little tinnier, if that makes sense. Compared to the 55 mode. We'll switch that in a second. But still sounds really good, but I prefer the bassier sound, what we call it, more bass-driven sound of the 55. I believe the Duke was composed on SC-55 in the first place, so That's where it sounds really good. So let's switch to the 55 mode. Yeah, fairly sure that Duke Lizzie Rabbag, if not the whole soundtrack, was composed on a 55. So that's kind of the... You're gonna have one like mid-90s MIDI device. Feels like the SC-55 or any of those versions around it are probably your best bet to start with. So and you can get the SC-55ST, so that's the same design as the 88ST that I have, but for, you know, for F-55 instead. So that's a good way to get into it. Alien bastards. Hate you for messing up my ride. I forgot the quote. No. I switched to 88 mode again there, and it's just, it feels like it's a tinier sound to the guitars here. I mean, it still sounds really good, but I feel instrumentation is not as well suited for this, so we'll leave it in 55 mode. Let's have the extremely over loud intro sequence of the explosion here on Duke 3D, because that's always happens. I have it turned down pretty far now. Hate that sound effect, is so loud. Adult content, everyone verify your adults. And that's where, you know, you're playing games like Duke 3D, then the 100 MHz 486 does a much better job than 66 MHz. When I had that in here originally, this game really struggles. And I think that a 4666 to me is like the most quintessential 46, but it does not play many of the games later in DOS here that we're expecting, that we know and love very well. So the 100 made a huge boost. I actually did that myself too. So when I got my P1100, we kept our 46 for a little bit longer. That was a 33SX. So it was not fast. That was my first computer then. And I actually bought a Intel Overdrive processor to bring it up to 46100. So let me tell you, 33SX to DX4100, you could feel that difference. My goodness. But then we had those two computers set up for a while at the same time, so I had friends come over after school with like Duke 3D over no modem cable, and Command & Conquer, Warcraft 2, stuff like that. It was a good time.
Damn, those alien bastards are gonna pay for shooting up my ride.
Mm-hmm. Find the sound here without going too far. But yeah, the 55 I think here sounds considerably better, honestly. I'll switch over to 88 mode again here now. We're on the SC-55 map mode now. But let's go to the oops, not that one. This one.
Radio for Christmas.
Yeah, in this case I guess there's not much of a difference, so it's not much difference here. Probably using some more instrumentation between the two, I guess. But that's the thing, is you get into MIDI devices, and you have, you know, your 55s, the 88 sounds different.
Christmas.
You got your, you know, Yamaha MU50, you get the 80s, and you get the 90s, you get the 100s, and boy, there were a lot of these. Yeah, that's true. It is too bad, because I mean, we can try it, because I really don't care. If we get a mark or whatever. Everyone knows all the secrets on level 1. Does this track decide what volume it wants to be at? Some like orchestra hits or trumpets coming in there much higher. Oh wow, that's pretty advanced there, Doppler, to get all that working through proxy or whatever. I, in my youthful folly, thought I could just copy the Windows directory from my Pentium machine to my 46 and then not end up as I expected. I had to do a hardware restore. So, whoops. I mean, that's young and dumb, like, that's how you learn. Hey, that's what you had, right? What you gonna do? I mean, I used to use modem, right? I played online a little bit and stuff like that, but then, you know, the games were adapted to. I played Red Alert over modem with a guy in America when I was in Sweden, so. I have a lot of games in here. Games is the question, because I dropped a lot in here. I will do Doom 2 as well, because we gotta do that. I have a soft spot for Doom 2, because it is the first game I got, basically. For Christmas of '94, I received Transport Tycoon Big Box and Doom 2 Big Box. Those were my first Big Box games. I still have those here. Doom 2 on the encouragement of my brother, older brother, who got my parents to buy that for me. And then I picked out Transport Tycoon by myself for like as an early present. So that was a pretty good Christmas. But I didn't get a computer until a few months later. It was I got the games with the assumption we'd buy a computer, and then eventually we went and bought the compact Presaria all-in-one. So that's where I did a lot of my early gaming, so. Oh, no, it's like you dialed into a, sorry, Brett, you didn't dial from there to US. It wasn't direct peer-to-peer. It was to a matchmaking service, right? You just connected to that. So as long as you got to internet, like I was connected to internet and the rest was done on the internet, but it was playing against a guy in the US. So I didn't dial up, because yes, that would have been extremely expensive long distance. So, yeah, Bruce, that's about the same. It was a substantial upgrade there. Let's see, select music card. We'll do Sound Blaster first. 20. Run Doom. But I think sound is really low, so maybe. There we go. I'll listen to that. It's still an iconic sound, but it feels like a little bit like a downgrade to me when you come from... The Amiga, to me, has such a rich sound, and then you go to, you know, Adlib, and it's a very unique sound, but it's also not necessarily better. Again, unique. Yeah, so this is what I played on... Actually, it's funny, because we bought my 4D6 then eventually. We went to a big retailer in Sweden, and we bought, you know, one of those big box, like, you know, turnkey computer things, right? And then got home, and I could not play... I could not play Doom 2. It would not launch at all. And, you know, we didn't know anything about modifying AutoExec bad config sys and everything, so we thought we had not enough memory, because it came with 4 megs of memory. So in their pity, my parents, you know, called in an order for another 4 meg of memory, which was not cheap. And then we upgraded to 8 meg, and after that, the game launched. So whatever was needed, got it over that. But yeah, that was like, you know, here's your brand new computer, and you can't play the game you've been waiting for months. So Prince Tycoon ran though, and I played that a lot. So all right, let's do the real stuff here. Slap bass. We are in the SF55 map mode, so we'll switch to 88 here soon, but I think that Doom 1 and 2 really shine on the 55, really. Well, switch back to 88 mode here. And it feels like it has like a cleaner sound, but not as punchy. I think I prefer the punchy sound in general, except when it's electronica, then it works really well, like with the Descent, etc. So. Now, 4 megabytes was not cheap, and I thank my parents profusely because, like, I think they just saw me as sad, right? We spent a lot of money already on a computer, and then, yeah, I couldn't use it. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would, getting DSL that early. Actually, for a while, I tried to call our teleoperator. I did it. Like, my dad said, if you want to call and ask, you can. And I called to see if we can get DSL, and where I lived at the time then, my parents' house out in the woods, no, they could not run. They were going to run ISDN, sorry, they could not do that, so. But then when I went to college and got DSL, yeah, I downloaded everything I could, so. Oh, wow, Boca, that's a bummer. Because, I mean, Doom 2 is definitely a 46 or higher game, right? You know, launching it is one thing, but here, with the 100 megahertz, we can run it at full screen at, you know, decent frame rates. There was a great video from Digital Foundry not too long ago where he shows Doom running on a 4666, the most quintessential 46, and how poorly it ran. Not until when you got a P1 did the game run smoothly, like with no hitches. That's really what, like, you know, games often were not adapted for the system at the time. They were waiting for something newer, so. I moved there in 2006. I've been there a while now. Back to 55. Yeah, I prefer the 55 mode on Doom and Doom 2. It just sounds a little better. That's the thing with MIDI, though. It is so subjective on like what you like or not. That is a very impressive port considering what they have to work with, so. Goes on forever. After this little solo thing. Yeah, I played, since Doom 2 was the game I had, you know, that's the one I had on my first computer then, so I played Doom 2 a lot. Using the cheats to get to the Wolfenstein levels, and, you know, looked up all the cheat codes, played with God mode and all the weapons and everything. In fact, to squeeze it onto this NES in the first place. I know there was a re-release recently here with the new, like, redone with the, you know, theoretical Super FX chip. I did not get in on that. Kind of wanted to, but then I like held back because I realized it would literally just sit on my shelf. Yes, it's very, very cool, but I don't think I would ever play it because I have so many good ways to play Doom. Yeah, that's Doom 2. But yeah, I put so many games on here. We have a little bit of problems with scaling here now. Whoop, there we go. Let's see, I was thinking. I had to test the GBS control at some point and see what that does with the scaling thing. It would be pretty nice to mess with it. To see if it works better for streaming versus the messing around with the scaling back and forth what I'm doing. So yeah, I put a lot of games on here because, well, we got to do one that is my favorite. First, we'll go to regular sound here. I love the soundtrack. And I literally go to my MIDI tower on this computer and I turn on a Transport Tycoon jukebox and I just let it play in the background and I mess around in the basement because I love that soundtrack so much. Soundmaster Pro. Oh, Soundmaster 16. 27.3 for sure. Soundmaster FM. Exit program. I played so much time, or spent so much time on Transport Tycoon. Not really, like I set up like a really big company and then I just kind of played through with not much competition and I just had fun building and watching the money roll in. So I had a save. I kind of wish I had it. That ran for months. Like I would just run it and play and just build a little bit and just collect money. And I don't know why I had any end goal, but the other competitors just couldn't, they had nothing to compete with at that point, but I still enjoyed it. So I gotta check something. It seems to me that the music is just really quiet. You gotta go into the game to turn it off. Sounds ridiculous, but let's check the where did I put that? Oops. MIDI set. So why is the volume on the ad-lib side so quiet? Turn it up a little bit, I guess. There we go. Weird. I love the soundtrack, and it sounds alright on ad-lib. Actually pretty good, I mean. That's amazing. I didn't realize you could play that long. I have spent many hours, and the thing is today, if you're going to play Transport Tycoon, the open TTD is, superior. What a great soundtrack. It sounds good even in this rendition, honestly. Fantastic. The thing with this game, it has a full jukebox in here. What I'm looking for, I can't remember. There we go. Wasn't that like funk bass going on here on the poor ad-lib? But yeah, I love this, being able to like select your music and everything, and Ressar, of course, is a programming genius, but went on to create Roller Coaster Tycoon, like we all know and love, but it really is really good, even on here. Hey, RetroPZ, welcome. Yes, I'm back. I'm streaming. Might be a little more frequent now, honestly, but trying here. It may not be every week, depending on how I feel, but, I'm trying to stream a little more, so. And I'm trying to set up the streaming thing so I can just hop down and stream and not have to, like, do a whole bunch of setup every time. So. Alright, we'll keep that in mind. We'll go to install. Sound effects board 227.3. And general MIDI. And here we go. There's the MT32 as well. It has specific mode for that. And I don't have the MT32 right now hooked up here because it is in the MIDI tower. But that's the thing. You look at how many games support the MT32 specifically, especially older DOS games and stuff. It's just, there's a lot. Like, I don't know. I picked some random game here, you know, from early 90s or late 80s. And like, sure enough, Roland's on there. Like, it supports all of that. And it's just crazy. Now, be quiet. We're in the 88 mode right now. This game I actually really enjoy on the Yamaha ones. And I will say, this is also one I probably enjoy more in the 55 mode. It sounds just a little better bass, so. Hey Bruce, alright, thanks for stopping by. And I'll see you later, maybe tonight or next time. Yeah, I keep remembering, we did when we streamed MIDI in the past, I think Major Striker has been called out, so. The MIDI blinky lights, and let's be real, the reason we have these MIDI towers is to look at the blinky lights. I mean, I'll own it. That's what I do. I look at the blinky lights this is playing. So here's the SC55 mode, same song, and I honestly like the sound a little bit better for this one. But this one I probably like the best on the Yamaha one, so. Man, I don't know how I can possibly justify buying one of those on eBay because shipping it is just not going to survive right. It's just the odds of that making it. Because remember, it's an all-in-one computer with brittle plastic from the mid-90s. You can package that to the nth degree, and I don't think it's going to make it. So I think this has to be an in-person thing, unfortunately. Which is when I saw it at BCF Midwest 2 years ago, you know, made my heart skip a beat. Grooving out, and I just love the soundtrack so much. You know what it's sold for? It sold for $100. Yep. I got there and someone had already bought it, and I said if the deal falls through, let me know. But someone else bought it for $100 right there in person. And we were walking around the showroom floor before the show, so someone bought it before the show even started. So, oh well. I'll get my white whale at some point. This sounds good. Here we'll see with this kind of funk bass. We'll switch to the 88 mode. It sounds cleaner. Back to 55. But I like the kind of dirtier. And that's the thing, is like a lot of these, something easy to forget for us that are using them for video games, you know, video games. We're using them for gaming, but a lot of these were made for this kind of composition, right? You know, jazz and all that stuff, and they were used, you know, as music devices. So it's easy to forget that, but some of these sound really good with the right kind of music. There's a, on the MT200, which we streamed with like a couple of years ago now, that one has they can play MIDI files on floppy, has a floppy drive attached to it, and it has a, I think think, Sound Canvas All-Star Band or whatever, and it's the most 90s delicious thing you ever heard. But it uses that kind of soundscape of what you expect from like a 90s kind of like soiree or, you know, TV special or something like that. It's just fantastic. But I'll often, like I said earlier, turn on this computer and leave the Transport Tycoon soundtrack just playing in the background as I'm doing other stuff. Especially these groovy bass ones. And program the alright. Probably enough Transport Tycoon, I suppose. Listen to that for a long time. Yeah, if you haven't heard the MIDI soundtrack for Transport Tycoon as a whole, definitely recommend it. It's just terrific. Let's see what else we got. We got, yeah, put in a lot of games on here. Warcraft 2 is probably a classic one. I need a CD for that one. Yeah, definitely do. In Retro PC, if you want to play a easier way, go to OTTD, Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe. That is a complete open source remake of Transport Tycoon Deluxe. You can play it on a modern computer. Download from the website and play it. Definitely recommend that path if you had never played it. So, yeah, that's the thing. The AI, there are limitations. Like, it was programmed back in the day, and he wrote the whole game in assembly, I think, to make it run as well as it does. It's ridiculous. He's a programming genius, basically, Chris Sawyer. So, and let's see, do we have a setup here? Yeah. Music setup. Go to Soundmaster 16. Manual set, 220. Initialize your sound system. Now, I never really played this game with the ad-lib sound. Sounds like Wolfenstein 3D there. Because it plays Red Book audio. Now, which is sampled, I believe, from an SD55 too. I could be wrong there, but I'm fairly certain that the Red Book audio on the CD for Warcraft 2 is actually recorded off a MIDI device, so... And it's funny how iconic that sound is, because you fire up, like, some old dungeon crawler from 80 or something, 80s, then, you know, it has inevitably this fantastic sound. So let's go to General MIDI instead. Might sound a little better. Little. Yeah, if you've heard the Red Book audio on this one, it probably sounds pretty similar. We're on 55 mode now, so let's switch to 88 mode. And I think it works, the 88 mode, I think in general works probably better with these orchestral renditions. But to me, it really, really sounds like a CD audio, which I think, again, was sampled from Sound Canvas, so you might recognize it. It is really addicting with MIDI to replay games or test them out. Or it's like, you know, I end up almost not playing games, so I'm testing different ones to see what they sound like, especially ones I played as a kid. Yeah, it really is. And that's what's so bizarre, is when I sit down with this 46 in the MIDI tower, and I hook this up, and I like turn on the Yamaha or this or whatever to play it, it's like, it elevates the game so much compared to what you know and are used to. But again, it's not as nostalgic, of course, because again, I'm used to the ad-lib sound or the Sound Blaster sound, so, you know, take that for what you will. I think it works, but... I don't think I'll listen to it this far. I will only do the test and then skip or whatever. It's got a good soundtrack, but that's, again, it's like how many of these games were composed on these MIDI devices and then downsampled or whatever to a sound card, and like a lot of them, a lot, and that's the reason why there's so much support. Yeah, that sounds, of course, very, very good. I can imagine, yeah. Especially doing this kind of stuff. I think it is CD for this play. Maybe not. My liege. Yes, my lord. Please insert your CD. Yeah. Even a multiplayer game without the CD, but you gotta pop a CD in if you want to play retail campaign. Yeah, it just sounds so good. Go back to the action cam, you can see the blinky lights. Your sound card worked perfectly. Yeah. I feel like we missed out a little bit on that kind of stuff with, you know, the Command & Conquer installation stuff. I love that. The Warcraft 2, like the flair they put in the installation stuff. I think there was a YouTube channel that popped up not too long ago that just records installations from the back in the day. It's just so nostalgic. It was the anticipation, like, you know, you'd usually, at least on my side, I would sit with the big box, flip through the manual, you know, wait for the installation to finish, and, like, get amped to play the game. Now it's just a progress bar in Steam, right? Oh, sorry, it goes in auto battle. Oh, that's true, yeah. That's a good point. That game looks fantastic. I think the Sound Blaster is setting correctly, because I'm not getting any Sound Blaster sound. Or maybe there's none here, I don't know. It was F55 mode. That makes me wonder, developers or composers, when they were making these things, did they actually sit down and play the game with the Sound Blaster sound, or like what everyone else would experience? Or did they just have these ultra devices? But yeah, I probably should give that game a try when it comes out. I love those 2D remake, whatever you want to call them, games, and that one looks like a total rip. Yeah, I mean, testers, but I wonder if I guess they should probably test and, you know, tune them for their other devices. So they knew what it would sound like, but I got a feeling almost they're like, you know, well, it sounds fine. Sounds fine on my device. Yep, we have streamed that a couple times. I do like that one quite a bit. I'm terrible at it, but we played it a few times. Yeah, there's a lot of games I installed that are Gus supported, but I want to show what happens if we do monkey or a. So this is, yeah, I should, since I got the big box of Blackthorn, so this is playing Monkey Island in the S55 mode, but this game is not composed for the S55, it's composed for the MT32, so it does not sound great. At all. passable, I guess, but yes, we did stream Dune. I did a full stream on that one. Blackthorn I have not. I should. And it's passable, I guess, but, you know, this sounds phenomenal in MT32, and especially Monkey Island 2. It's just sublime. If you have not heard Monkey Island 2 intro on MT32, then highly recommend checking that out. Because what's happening now is like the game has been sending the signals to the assumption that the instrumentation it's getting is the MT32, but this was not general MIDI supported game. Yeah, let me check. I have the box. Stand by. Let's see what it says on here. Roland MT32. Need a color monitor. Does not say anything about general MIDI, unfortunately. So Roland MT32. I got this recently here. I already showed it last time I streamed, but I never thought I would run into this game on a big box. So that was a welcome surprise, to say the least. Yeah, maybe we should stream Blackthorn at some point. It's a really cool game. I never got very far in it. It's hard. Reminds me, like, you know... Let's not sound good now. Yeah, no. I think I will stick with ad-lib on this one if you do not have an MT32. It is really, really good on MT32, but no. Not on this. Not like this. There we go. Quit. Just to say that's the hard part with these MIDI devices, that yeah, you can cover the most ground probably with like an SC55 or an MU50 or whatever, but a lot of the early DOS games were written for the MT32, and that's just the way it is. And those sound fantastic if you use it properly, but in this case, no, that is not the proper use of a MIDI device. Yeah, I dropped a lot of stuff on here that supports... Honestly, I dropped a lot of stuff that supports the MT32 because that's what this is hooked up to as well. Oh, that's right. I gotta check this out because this is just terrible. Just terrible. Have you guys seen Mega Man X in DOS? You have now, and I'm sorry. You awake now? And this is what a good, you know, MIDI device. Yeah, feel that rock. Oh, wow. Orchestra head is going nuts over there. Let's try the 55 mode. There, that's better. Yeah, I can hear the melody now, but the orchestra hits are still going just bonkers. Okay, let's jump. Alt, of course. It's harder to run on a gamepad. This is basically torture. I played other X games on PC that are good ports, but I think this one is not a DOS port after all. It's funny because my wife played this on Windows. I mean, she bought the game PC, it came with the controller and everything, so that's how she played it first, so... Now, we can switch to Sound Blaster. Problem is, I don't know if there's any way to escape the game. Trying to shift Q, control Q, all those. I don't have to reboot, but I think there's probably a shortcut to get out. This is the thing with all these games, like, it's just Wild West on what they used. I listened to it over and over. Yeah, I may have to reboot. Can't! It won't let me reboot! We're stuck here forever! The aspect ratio is pretty off too, but I think it's a side effect of being on DOS, so... You may never leave. Yep, I think it's gonna have to be that. It won't let me control delete. Sorry. I think that's number 4, right? Number 4, hard reset. That's what happens with DOS when you're just hopping games like this. Inevitable. Hard drive does not sound good when it boots. It goes like, meow, almost. So, I need that replacement hard drive. Yeah, that's true. And in this case here, this is, yeah, that's, I guess I haven't thought about it, yeah. That's this HP machine, right? It doesn't, it's just a power button. That's all he got. The nice part here with the PicoGauss 2 is it just initializes. I have it set here to MP, you can see in the middle, MPU 401 port 330. That's what's in the MPU mode right now, but it lets you, like, it's running in GUS mode and MPU 401 mode. But if you want intelligent MPU 401, which is used for some games for the MT32, you can switch to that as well through command line, so that's pretty nice. Let's see, we had a lot of other games on here. I added a whole bunch of games. Like we should try. I have Blackthorn installed, as it turns out. Does it have a setup? I have it set general MIDI, so let's try it. Bless it. Good thing I got the manual. It's not a cracked version, apparently. Hang on, let me find the manual. You gotta go through the cop protection to save the settings and utility. That's pretty hardcore. Got that musty smell. Some boxes do. Blackthorn manual. Let's take a look. Page 3. Word 3 on line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Word 3. Wrong spot. What did it say? Wow. The problem is there was a slash word in there. I'm not sure if that was... Oh, it's... Okay, you see what it starts on. Page 3, line 4. Blackthorn, right? This doesn't seem right. Enter word 1 of line 4 on page 3. I am on page 3. But it's right. It says I. Page 3. Page 3. Word 1, line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This doesn't line up. This is great cop protection. Oh. That is not line. Oh, come on. And they're counting the header. Yeah, they did. So the header was counted. I started counting on like line 1 as a normal person. Yeah, inhabited was the word. That's the word of the day. Yay! See what it sounds like with General MIDI here. I got a feeling this is more a MT32 kind of game, so. The Blizzard games from this era just ooze like charm. Get a nice little intro here. Deep in the heart of Tool. Isn't it weird this never saw like any sequels or follow-ups or anything? There's something special with the DOS graphics and intros, and I don't know. Just love that stuff. The audio stream current bitrate is 0. I think that's accurate. All these things. Let's look at the manual because... Well, thanks, Revenant. I can say it here if you want to. I'm not gonna call you out, but... Key combinations. Let's see. Up arrow, down arrow. S draws the gun. It's so random, some of these games. Shoots backwards. Gun drawn. Keyboard controls. He does for some of these games because they're all so, like, different. That sounds alright, but I think, again, this probably sounds better on MT32, I'm guessing. That is dedication to piracy, yeah. But there's something about the graphics in these DOS games, I don't know, this DOS by itself is really magical, what they could do. Like, it was like the 16-bit designers were unshackled with DOS, and now all of a sudden you had 46 slots capabilities and stuff like that, inbuilt in hard drive, Sound Blaster, all of that was like included, which is not a guarantee on computers before it, so. Very Prince of Persia here, but yeah, this game is really like it's Prince of Persia with like a shotgun, sort of. You're the chosen one? Chosen dog. Erng. Let's see, use the current item. Take that. Oh, do I have... Oh, I had the, there we go. He got this cool, like, backward shot. He's that rad. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Go to 88, more than 55 modes. Let's go to 88. It is really, like repetition and learning the stage and everything like that, or how everything looks. Make your friend. And yes, you can shoot everyone too, so including the good guys. Oh, that was so cool. But it also, again, controls are just a little bit janky. Well, yeah, I'm cooler than you, so... you can do this to hide from shots. Let's see. Allow us to cycle through inventory. I don't care. I got busier, or I got other things to do. Shooting my gun backwards in a cool fashion. Run. I feel like a lot of this is going to be like memorization or like learning, but at least like compared to Prince of Persia, you have a shotgun, so you know that's nice. To escape bombs, it is better to avoid them than to be nimble. Oh. Dang it. Gotcha. I mean, it pretty much is. Question is how long this music goes on, because it is, sounds pretty good, but I'm a little curious to see how it sounds when you go to, regular ad-lib. Oh, this is a jip here. Let's try it. Too bad. For you, I got unlimited shotgun shells. Oh, potion. Yeah, we have. I streamed Elite Force, the first one. We should really do the second one, because that one is honestly better, and yeah, I really should do that one. Star Trek Voyager Elite Force 2, or Elite Forces 2. Well, that was a really good game. Feels like they find your footing compared to the first one is alright, but let's try it faster. I feel like we should at some point like fully stream this game. Yeah, it's true. Oh, there's an Overlord guy there. I feel I have to bomb that guy. Yep, that did it. Bridge key. Take this bomb. Thank you, friend. Hey, just the, we did. Oh, ow. Rolls. You know, I don't know. Probably can. It's like, you know, there's places where you need a bomb to progress, right? So, well, actually no run button in this game? Thing behind there. The guy was like, oh, there's secrets behind waterfalls. There's none. Wow, that was a uninspired level section there. What the power generator? I'm not going to free you though. I mean, you have standards after all. Yeah, he looks pretty out cold. Or dead. Ow. Got a lot of blood coming out of his ears there, so probably fine. Alright, I guess we've tested that game now. I'm curious to see, I kind of want to check it out with the ad-lib sound. Almost a Pro, 220. Yeah, it just asked me to save there. Boy, they love the shotgun sound, huh? Oh. I didn't expect it to just quit. I was hoping it could skip through the intro, but it just quit the game, so. Wow, it just skips each one. Got that dungeon crawler vibe to it. Sound doesn't have... Music doesn't have quite the same oomph here, but this game was ported to consoles too, I think. There's a SNES version, and that is a lot of shells there, my guy, you're putting into your dual barrel shotgun. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good soundtrack on, you know, as much, it was repetitive. Maybe it changes up later, but, yeah. Oh, man. Not maybe it's good here. Darky? Yeah, that's true. They did port it to GBA. I think they ported it to a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, am I dreaming? Was there a Sega 32X version for it? I thought there was. Thus, Turian support is? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it does. We got the blinky lights. We'll have to try out, Rise of the Triad too. That's got a really good MIDI soundtrack. I would like the SC-55 sound there a little better. Yeah, it was great. I'm not sure. In this case here, I'm using a PicoGus as the MIDI out device on this computer. So on the other machine I have hooked up here, I do use the game port out, but in this case here, with the PicoGus, it gives you direct MIDI out, emulating an MPU 401 card, so that's pretty convenient. Epic. Before we became terrible. Why don't they... I'm still upset at the fact that Epic won't release like a remastered mission for Unreal. Like Unreal 1 remastered by Night Dive Studios. So how good does that sound? I think they've tried several times and
Good luck.
Epic keeps denying them. You know, that's the thing. I don't really know that much about the MIDI stuff when it comes to the actual limitations of what it can do, honestly. This is 88 mode. I prefer the 55 mode a little more, but still, this sounds really good. I am terrible at this game. We have a lot of weapons here. Much as I love Schwoops or whatever, I really should sit down and play Tyrion. I don't think I've ever played it through. Some Raptor, like, it's right up my alley. I'm not sure why I never played them. Besides just testing them. Nice. Yeah, that's definitely the PicoGus is just a cheap way to get that functionality. Plus that, of course, having, you know, an ultrasound as well. It's just such a versatile card. And with the Pico, since you just have a little dongle that gives you that MIDI, it's a lot cleaner too. Like, again, shows you that awesome, like, graphics that DOS games were capable of. 2D arts and every art. Got the pulse cannon. Yeah, I probably should play the story mode. Look at that. Nice. That's the thing. I love 2D shooters like this. I'm just, especially the arcade ones, I'm terrible at them, but some of my favorite games are in that genre, but like the actual ones that require real skill, yeah, can't do the bullet hell ones. Well, great MIDI soundtrack though. Shooting at, but spikes ahead. Oh, that's right, those stupid things. Can't you fly up or down? No. 2D. Yeah, I really just sit down and play this. For real. I like the games that switch perspective between two or side-scrolling and top-down, like that's why I like Axelay so much. I used to play Life Force as a kid. The Salamander, or the Gradius offshoot. Their attack pattern is not super difficult, is it? Play that and die, but... Yep. 4%. I guess this is arcade, right? So... I feel like a lot of these were coded or made on the SC-55, and that's the sound you get that's the closest. Weird megapoles. So many weapons. Yeah, I believe it, Doppler, that there's some reason why they did it this way, per se. Because there aren't that many side-scrolling shooters on DOS. Well, there are some, but none that I can think of. Top-down seems to be the preferred method in general. Multi-cam. Alright, the missiles. I'm out of the missiles. That's the thing, is like you can play all these games and, you know, of course have a good time with the Sound Blast or whatever, but just revisiting them or experiencing them the first time with this kind of sound can be really like a changed experience, because it just, you know, in my case I never heard them, or you may have heard them in just a YouTube video or something like that. But the fact that you could have one of these devices and enjoy so many games back in the 90s is just ridiculous, really. I know, my shield was busted. What of it? Green can. Korean asteroids with a Z, because it's cool. I think I blowed it up. Another guy. Atom bomb. Well, that's... Okay, there's a lot of games, like for example Dune 2. It sounds fantastic on MP32, but it does not sound good on General MIDI. We can try it, but I don't think it supports General MIDI at all. Large mass attack. Whoa. Hello. Bye-bye. Cool. Alright, well, that's probably not for that, but it's still a good game with fantastic MIDI music. I'd really need to sit down and play this. Like, one of my favorite games, or the games I like the most in this genre, is Superstar Soldier on... Not Superstar Soldier, it's Soldier Blade on TG16. Is a great, like, top-down, and it's in the Star Soldier series. Soldier Blade, I believe, is the last one there. Dune 2 on here? English. Yeah, there's sound cameras. Okay, so that's the option. The mouse, yes. Dune 2, do I have enough memory? Dune 2 is really picky, it needs a lot of memory. Alright, so it has a specific mode for sound cameras, which is good, because this game feels like it was adapted more for the MT32. But I don't know. This is what's so fun with this, because like, I literally will just like go through my games behind me, or just look at a list or whatever and find games. there's so many games to explore that I didn't know had these soundtracks. Especially the Roland one, my goodness. So many old games that have Roland option. And this is a game, I think, on a Roland that sends a custom load of different sounds. Must flow. Dune. Home of the Spice Melange. I got the Dune 2, it was like one of the white box labels or something like that, like a re-release that had Dune 2, which was the full CD-ROM talkie edition. And I thought that was so cool. I don't have that one anymore. I think I have the CD for it somewhere, but like full CD audio, talkie, soundtrack and everything. Well, let's switch to 88 mode. We're in 55 now. No real difference. Let's do similar instrumentation there. There are no set territories, no rules of engagement. The actor for the Emperor in the voiced one is pretty lackluster. I think I love this. I love the story about the fact that they were looking to make a successor to this with Dune 2 being so popular, but Westwood was just tired of creating sand tiles, so that's why they made Command & Conquer with the interesting note here as well. It only supports one sound device, so you get sound effects and music from the MIDI side. The sound master right now is turned on to nothing, so all this you're hearing is from the MIDI device. Interesting enough, it's lighting up some of the over here, so I'm not sure if it's using custom. A lot of the channels or instrumentation you normally don't see on here, that we've seen tonight. Battle for Dune begins now. Yeah. Also a sublime intro on MT32. A game. PDs. I thought that was so funny as a kid. Yeah, this. I mean, there might be other games too, but this game specifically, right now, this is all you're hearing is from the MIDI device. There's no sound master sound at all, including construction complete. It actually is pretty good with the CD one. Music in this is really good too. That's why I like the Dune 2000 remake, because they take these tracks and you just amp them up. I think it was Frank Klepacki that made the soundtrack for this one too. Maybe? Maybe not. That sounds really good. But yeah, in this case, it's all MIDI. The thing with these devices, right, they can produce this kind of audio much better than... Oops. There we go. Than the MT32 can, which sounds very unique and distinct, but the sound effects on MT32 are just ridiculously poor. Enemy approaching. The biggest thing with this freaking game is the fact that, you know, you are selecting one unit and move. If you could just like right-click select, that would save so much time. But yeah, it's before they kind of figured out what they wanted to do, right? And this kind of, I remember everyone was just lauding Dune 2 for being so interactive, or like it's so easy to play, right? it's weird in my mind then, because I played that CD-ROM version so much, and I had friends who had this on the Amiga and saw that there. But then I had the CD-ROM version, like I said, and that's the sound that's in my mind. Construction complete. Or angry voice. And I also like that this game changes the music depending on what's going on. Here it changes now as combat's going to start. It was earlier. I switched to the 88 mode. Not much difference right now. More reverb, maybe? I don't know how many people guitar there. Like if the composers that had these devices, because I doubt anyone played Dune 2 with this kind of MIDI setup. Now, the time difference here is pretty broad too, because the 88 came out much later than Dune 2 was. This is like a 92 game, and I think the 88 SC-88 came out like past 95 for sure. So. But yeah, I think there are patches. People have made custom patches that let you use, separate the sound and the music. So in this case here, everything's going through MIDI, but there are patches and stuff like that lets you use two devices, so you can have Sound Blaster and MIDI, like most games do. But in this case here, it's just a singular thing. It sounds infinitely better than the MT32 mode, because then the music sounds really good, but the the sound effects are just not great, because that's not what the MT32 has built in. These devices have a lot more sound options built into them, so they can generate these like more sound effecty sounds. But yeah, it is still sluggish to play. That's why I like Dune 2000 so much, because it took the same formula and just kind of made it better. And I really like that game. We have streamed that a long time ago, my goodness. Oh. Leave my harvester alone. Leave harvester alone. Worm sign. Tackle my harvester. I don't think it's going to work out in your favor. The thing that strikes me with this game when you return to it is just how slow it moves. Besides just the movement, but like things take a lot of hits to kill. Look at how many units we have on this one guy. There we go. Burnt face. You know, we're coming from more turn-based games, which is kind of more the norm at this era, to this fast click and select, which, you know, sure it feels clunky now, but it was pretty big deal when it came out. Harvesting, 91% full on harvesting. Interesting enough, I think we heard most of the soundtrack already, because this game does not have a huge soundtrack, if I remember right. The manual away from Blackthorn. I'll play that game more down and play properly. But I do get a feeling it gets a little monotonous as you progress, I'm guessing, because I think there's newer environments and like newer challenging rooms. Otherwise, it's pretty much more the same. Something that's very satisfying is that these interplay boxes are like almost identical. It lines up all nice and pretty. I made a little interplay one there. You ever tried Dune 1 or Dune 2? I'm playing Dune 2 now, of course, but... Turn, we don't need that much money. Dune 1 is a trip. We've streamed that too, but that is a very different kind of game. A very cryo-interactive game. and it's more of an adventure with some strategy elements. This is, of course, just an RTS. Just. It's the granddaddy of the RTSs. Yeah, and that's a good place to start, too. Huzzah! Yes, very good job. Hurrah! I did that as a kid, too. It was just super fun. Yes, our blue bar is large and theirs is non-existent. We are the better ones. I think I've tested this before here. But yeah, if you want to go back and play... Dune 2000 is literally a remake of Dune 2. And it is really fun to play going back to it because it's made in Command & Conquer engine. So it's very, very similar to Command & Conquer, just set in the Dune universe. So I do like that game quite a bit. It was not well received because it was pretty old feeling by then, but it was a, in my opinion, really good game. So oh, yep. I knew I was going to fail that. Apparently, I do not have the cracked version as it was installed. So, whoopsie. Oops. That's right. We got to hear the music anyway, which is the main purpose. So, because there are games like Settlers 2 that have it, but it doesn't sound super interesting. Oh, there's Heretic too. That's a good one. So we'll do just the Sound Blaster for starters. Everyone's heard this one, or pretty common one. Oh. And this just now had that remaster done, or whatever to call it, where I think Andrew Holschultz remixed the entire soundtrack for this. He did a fantastic job on the Doom 1 and 2 re-release, so I haven't bought this one yet, Heretic Hexen combo, but I have a feeling it's going to go on sale, so I'll grab it then. But I got this on... I got this on a demo CD, or a cover CD for a magazine, and that's where I played the shareware version. That was my experience, because I had it through that. I don't think I ever beat the shareware version even, so I never bought the game. For myself now, because the box is worth a lot anymore, but it was just, I thought it was really cool, because it's just like it's Doom set in like a dark fantasy environment, but the music is alright, but let's switch it up to MIDI. Sound canvas. Oh yeah. Some real orchestra here. I can only imagine if you had access to one of these. I'm curious to talk to someone who had access to these, any kind of MIDI device back in the 90s for real, because I can't imagine any gamer, unless you were very well off, would have bought one just for gaming. So I assume it mostly just like people that were composing or they were testing, you know. But I certainly not in my friend circle or anyone I knew remotely had anyone had a MIDI device. I mean, everyone just played with their Sound Blaster or whatever they had. So. Yeah, there we go. It just takes it a whole other level. It's just so similar, but just better. Again, that's what makes it so fun to go back and explore games and finding new ones. I mean, especially on the MT32, honestly, because this is really cool, but there are so many games that support the Roland. It's a very specific sound versus the general MIDI stuff. So, yep, that's true. I mean, at least everyone I knew bought like a in-box computer that had everything you would need. So that would include the computer, hard drive, sound card, multimedia bundle, that typical stuff. That's everyone I knew that had a computer had one of those, be it Packard Bell, Compact, whatever it was, and then the Macs, of course, too. So I don't know anyone that most people I knew that by the time they got into PC, they had already gotten, or they got a, what do you want to call it, big box, pre-bought, pre-bundle, whatever, typical home computer, right, from the 90s. That was a big rage in Sweden as well. I got my Compact Presario, and later my AST was also the same. It was just a computer in the box. Like, it had a computer, had a monitor, had all the software, keyboard, mouse, everything, right? So you didn't need to buy anything extra. It all came in one box. It was not cheap, accordingly. I think that the Presario all-in-one probably like $1,300 or $1,400 probably. Yeah, that was like, typical home computer thing, not any fancy machine. Sure, it had an all-in-one thing, but that's what attracted my parents, because it was one computer, one unit, I missed that computer, but yeah. Does Hexen have... Hexen probably's got multimedia, or MIDI, right? If this supports it, Hexen surely does. Think I ever checked that out. I do believe you need to check out Rise of the Triad. Which I think I have on here. I don't. Don't I Rise of the Triad on here? Might be in a different directory. Oh. That's surprising. We're going to Windows land. I have command line stuff set up to FTP files, but honestly, I can just browse to the network share much, much easier from Windows 3.11. So there we go. We'll just do it this way. Because why not? Oh, apparently we are not doing that. Windows 3.11 is having problems. Fantastic. Let's fire up the network. We're not doing that. We get an IP address? Yes, we do. We have FTP server running now, so now I can FTP stuff to the machine. So, let's see. I want to do this. I gotta remember what the heck I set up this network for, or how I set it up. It's been a while now. I got a IP on. Connected, so. Okay, there we go. And let's see. Here probably what I'll do instead. Let's see. So we need Rise of the Triad. Stand by. Just rot, and I'm going to grab Hexen too. So what I'm doing now, so for those not aware then, This 46 is fully networked, so I have FTP stuff going here now, but I'm gonna... It's running FTP server now, but I'm gonna switch to FTP client so I can pull from my NAS. Because honestly, I like networking everything. I just don't like running over floppies, so it can be neat for nostalgia's sake, but it also takes a long time, so... And 2. Delve into Exodus. Yeah, that's true. I forgot it has co-op, so... N. Beyond Heretic. Ooh, that's a big one. That's the... CD, I think. Zen. Find you. There we go. 9 meg. That's better. Directing on network drive directly. Sorry, you can't see anything that's going on here now. It's kind of boring, but I guess I can start copying. So Alt X. So FTP 10.00.100. What? That's right. I had the wrong one. It's been a while now. Let's go to drivers and then get into MTCP. FTP 10.00.100. Go. What's the user ID? I always forget. I guess you gotta know that crap too. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you're gonna do large data transfer, most of the time it's easier to pull the drive and put it in something else. But I like the convenience of networking. I just gotta remember how to get to get in there. Hey, disk 1, share. What's the local? LCD. CDC. I almost forgot. Let's see. What's the... I'm gonna look at the local directory. LCD. Okay, I know that, but what's in the... There. Whatever. So we're going to get rot. I think I like that. It's not a folder. That was, isn't it a good thing to get the whole folder? mget. Not the valid DOS name. Looks pretty valid to me. Fine. Do it the hard way. Let's see. All right, let's see. All right, we'll win SCP on my main machine here, so we'll connect through FTP here in a second. Let's see, what's the IP on this guy here? Then 0. I forgot the... Denied. Forgot the password I set on here. It was password. The password was password. Super secure here. Let's see. We're going to do... I forgot that it really doesn't like when you're transferring folders with a lot of files in it. So you have to zip it. This is turning into a thing. We're gonna get here. It's just funny because I haven't done this in a while now, and I keep forgetting. So. But if you copy a single file, no problem. I'm uploading hex.zip there, as you can see. It's transferred at a brisk 150 kilobits per second, which is not super fast, but at the same time, this is a lot easier. Once you have this set up, you can do something else, copy files back and forth. I can also do the same thing now where I can probably get, if I have zipped, I can do it. And I forgot because I think I put PK on zip on here. I've been on the Amiga world so much lately now that I know the commands now for doing this on Amiga, but then hopping back to the PC, it takes a while getting used to it. So once and if we get these two up and running, I'm just going to try out Return of the Triad or Rise of Triad because that really is an iconic like MIDI game for me. But yeah, I like having all my machines networked if I can, because once you have it set up and configured and you got it running well, then you can copy files pretty easily. It is nice when you have something that has like a mass storage device you can take out, like on the Amiga, right? I can take the compact flash card and pop it in the computer and transfer files much quicker. I never did that one. I can't say I did that. No. So by the time I got to college, I had Ethernet in the wall. It was 10-10, 10 up, 10 down in Sweden. And my classmates also had 10 up, 10 down in the different places in town they lived. So we were able to transfer data back and forth to our respective computers very quick. And we're talking early 2000s here. So that was mind-blowing to me. Like, I moved into an apartment where I was going to college. And then I saw there was an RJ45 jack in the wall. And then I saw that, the agreement they had with the company that ran internet with that building. I called them and it's like, can you just connect me? And I was like, yep, here's the billing information, blah, blah. And then they said, okay, you're active. I just plugged in my router directly into that jack and bam, internet. That was it. Like, that was so nice and simple. And then the speeds were really good. There was a lot of copying going on at the time, as it were. All right. There's that, and here's Rot coming up. Let's direct something. Direct send or a direct copy. I don't remember what it was, but there was some like peer-to-peer server system that allowed you to connect to servers, and they could weed out people there. But because it was such a, it was direct connect, maybe something like that. But because they had you had to almost fill out what you had for internet and everything, and if you came in and like leached, they kicked you out and stuff. So if you got onto a good server there were some brutally good speeds, because especially in Sweden then, a lot of people had 1010. So, and back in the day too, we're talking, that was just ridiculous. DCC, yeah, that sounds familiar. I don't know. But it was like you connected into a server, and you were on the server and had storage stuff on there, and then people were on it. You had to have a username and password to get on, so you have to sign up and like get approved and stuff like that. It was a whole bunch of stuff like that. And if you abused it, you got kicked right away. But you were basically sharing out folders on your computer directly to the server, and other people could download from you, because you had good up speeds, they could get stuff quickly. So you didn't have to sit there. It wasn't like, distributed like you have with torrents and stuff. It was like a direct copy. Pretty sure that stuff shut down by the time that, copyright started getting enforced a little harder, but I will say that's how I got some of my shows and games during that time period. So, I mean, all making backup copies I've already had, of course. We all did. Yeah, that's true. They used to have that too. Now it's just all Wi-Fi, so why would they bother with network jacks? All right, that's completed. Oops. So we're gonna disconnect from there. No, I don't want to delete. I want to disconnect. All right, Alt-X. We have upload. That's Hexen now. So PK unzip. Is that what I have on there? Yeah. I gotta remember how horrible this is. To extract everything where I need it to. So let's see. We need extract. And I want full folder structure. Not exclude. So it should be just E. I think it is that. So you can unzip E xn dot zip to C games. Can't find E though. Whoops. EK unzip xn dot zip E to C games. Command file name. Oops, I don't have like recall, so I can't press up. I need to install that on here. And it's pretty funny when you do this kind of stuff. Like, that's built into the Amiga by like default in Amiga OS, and that's pretty amazing that they had that much foresight and things that you expect now that they had back then already. xn.zip ec games. Let's see if it drops right there. Literally right here. ek unzip c fdp upload xn.zip e games. What am I doing wrong here? No files found. It's right there. Have to the D? Oh, directory. Probably right. Restore create directory story. Oh yeah, you're right. So it's D. I have to probably do add. Okay. ek unzip xn.zip -e -d to the games. There we go. Hey, first try. So yeah, that's what we need to do. And that's the thing. I had a process for this when I was loading this machine up, but once you get in the groove of this, you see how convenient this is. Like, I can just drop the game on here, and then I can extract it, and then now I have the game, right? So there is a method to this madness. And if I had a way to, plop the hard drive out easily, then I could do that too, but that's not really practical. So unzip rot.zip -e -d c games. Yep, there we go. Sweet. And sometimes, well, because I zipped the folder, that's what I did. I did not zip contents. Well, I like being explicit. But anyway, it's funny because I compressed the folder, which is why then it retains the folder structure. If I would have compressed the files, it would dump it all in here. But it's funny because I remember my friend and I, he had a 4650, I had a 4633, and we were trying to like share games that we were getting. So I had SimCity 2000, and it was on, I think, a single floppy, so that was easy. We can just copy the floppy. I mean, we didn't, but we did, and transfer that, or here's the game. But some games that were bigger than a floppy, we were just dumbfounded. We didn't know what to do. Like, what do we do next? Like, we can't figure out. And the time we figured out the arg command, so that was arj, not pk unzip or anything, it was arg, and we figured out how to compress and spread it over multiple floppies. That was just like, it just was mind-boggling how much that opened up for us. Now, we didn't do it a lot because you don't want to sit there and copy 100 floppies, but the fact that we can now trade things with each other that was bigger than a single floppy, and we figured it out, was just amazing. And we're talking, we're teenagers, if even that. It's like, so this is way back. Then set up the hexen. Aha, there we go. Sound music card. We'll go for sound canvas right away. I did not copy that floppy. I have no knowledge of this floppy copying you're talking about. 227.3. Launch hexen. Gonna crash or something. That one very loud. It is funny now that I work with people that, they have never like lived in a world that didn't have like high-speed internet. Like they don't know what that is like. And that's like mind-boggling to me, right? They never used a floppy, even for like, you know, their own purposes. And I mean, that makes sense. I'm old. There's a lot of younger people like me, but that's always just like I forget, right? It's not like, you know, get off my porch thing, but it's more like it was so formative for me to go through those experiences before I got internet, right? And that was a big part of what it was like. This is the game that wants a P1. Suitably epic, though. Go to... Yeah. I like the 55 mode. That's what I just flipped over to. Got a floppy on the brain. And I prefer that to the 88 in many cases, because it just has a little punchier sound. I would think we're in the low res mode, or maybe it looked like this. You can look up and down. But it does make me wonder about, like you mentioned earlier, with the remaster. It'd be fun to play that co-op. No, and that's the thing is, like, yeah, it changed so much so quickly, right? Oops, I blew myself up. Well, the cleric didn't get very far. Fighter. That's right, the fighter just punches everything. So we're in this game, you don't get any ranged weapons early on. But just what we looked at it, because I remember talking to my grandpa, and you know, he went from seeing like the rise of radio and then seeing television and airplanes come around, and or like I should say, maybe not invented, but used extensively and stuff like that, and the amount of change he saw in his lifetime. But then I think how much has changed with the technology age. It's really absurd how quick things have moved from. I don't think anyone in the 90s foresaw how continued would be, you know? Exactly. And now they chat GPT, and it's like they're using that as tools. Fighters just walk around punching everything. Where is it? What I am honestly curious about in the remaster that makes me want to play it is that they've tightened up and made things a little better, easier. Because the Heretic and Hexen both are pretty obtuse and just a product of their time in many cases. So I could see, like, it would be nice to play more streamlined things. I'll probably have to get it, but I guarantee it will go on sale eventually. Not that I don't like Night Dive's remasters, but I'm also cheap and have plenty of games to play. Yeah, that sounds good. Clearly, it was written or supports this completely, so. Yeah, it's true. I had a small hard drive, and then when you got a bigger one and it opened up the world, like I installed the game, so I don't have to worry about space or whatever. I think that by the time I got a new computer, remember the jumps it was when you got like a new PC? Like the 46 to Pentium was just a jump, and I got my P2 later, and I just remember installing games or whatever, and they just flew, you know? And that every leap. And the first time I had a leap, I think, was when I went from my P3 500 to my Athlon 1.2 or something, and I was still disappointed in the performance boost there with the games I was playing. It was not as fast as I would expect. But by then, you're getting out of the CPU world and getting more into GPU world. So yeah, but just the feeling of getting a new computer that was just so much blisteringly faster than what you had before, that was just something that it's hard to emulate today unless you've waited a long time to upgrade. But yeah. it's an interesting era to grow up in, honestly, or experience. And it's funny because I talked to my coworkers. I have several that are retiring here soon that have been in IT for. I am working IT, and they've been in IT for 30 plus years, and they've seen it all. And you know, they talk about what they have seen and the change they have seen in their career and the technology and everything. And it's just wild. That they worked on those things that was formative to me. And I say, like, you know, I remember when I had to, like, sit there and modify AutoXec and config.sys to make my games work and everything. And they say, like, you learn a certain level of, like, because I couldn't look anything up, you know, there was nowhere to go and Google it or anything. And you kind of have to figure it out. And it took a long time to figure some stuff out, especially as a kid. Now you have every piece of information at your fingertips if you can get through all the ads. So, which honestly, I think that's where AI comes into hand, or it's handy as kind of like a glorified search engine. I use it for that almost for work, for troubleshooting and stuff, when I can specifically ask it, hey, this syntax, how does it look for this scenario? And it can customize that. It's like that can be a time saver. So, yeah. It's not even funny at Doppler. Like, the performance on those machines, like, there was a wide gulf on PCs. Because I remember, like, you know, I had a Super Nintendo and I'm playing on 46 at the same time. And the games on these two systems were not really... I mean, look at Doom, right? Doom on a 46 versus on SNES, like, yeah, it works, but they were worlds apart. And even then, when 3D games came around with 3D consoles, you know, N64 and PS1 and all this stuff, the PC kept pace and outpaced it there for quite a while. I mean, the growth on PCs from like 1990 to 2000 is like ridiculous. Like, the amount of pure compute difference, like you call out there, Bandana, is like you got something, and then a week later something came out that could do the same or better. And I was afraid to upgrade in some cases, like, right? Because there were so many things coming out so fast. I can only imagine, like, I only upgraded, you know, pretty slowly because of money and all that stuff. But I can only imagine if you had a lot of disposable income when to buy, you know, I'm going to buy the best PC out there now. I mean, it was obsolete. Not even, maybe not obsolete, but there was something way faster, like in 6 months in some of those years. The time differential between some of these processor and video cards and stuff is just ridiculous. Like, look at 3D effects. How long were they in business? The Voodoo 1 came out in 96 or 97. And they, like, collapsed in, what, like, 2002? They weren't even around for 10 years. Like, they feel like they were around forever, but, you know, it's just ridiculous. Yes, thank you, Mike Boy. I was going to ask about that one because I couldn't remember. Figure sounds. I was right. Launch a sound setup. Numblumps. Also supports the ultrasound. I don't have it hooked up. That's why I like the Pico Gus, because it gives you all these things, you know. You can have ultrasound and Sound Blaster and all the good stuff. No, custom setup. We need 16, 220, 3. No, whoops. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got sound effects. Now we need to do the music. The default is a Sound Blaster. But we are going somewhere else. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. Press a try it. It's just... Ugh. I haven't updated either. I know I haven't even tried the CD emulation and stuff, because that's really handy, honestly. Especially when you get to these scenarios where you might, especially in DOS and stuff, where you need just to hook up like a CD-ROM or a CD. Like in that case there, I could just mount Warcraft 2 CD or whatever directly in DOS and play it from there. That's pretty slick, so I need to try that at some point too. I don't even use the USB port right now on it, so... Hey, Polygene, welcome back. It's been a long time. Yeah, I haven't streamed for a long time, and I've done 2 now in a row, so I think we're on a roll. But we'll see if I stream again here soon. Again, I mentioned earlier it's not going to be every week, but I'm trying to get back in the groove of videos and YouTube and that all stuff. So, was joining us late. We are playing games on the Roland SC-88ST, as it were, and we have beautiful blinky lights going on. Alright, we're going to try Rot. Save and Run Rot. This is a game that's just fantastic on Sound Blaster, or sorry. It's funny because I watch YouTube channel Civvy, and he does just really funny reviews of like first-person shooters, but he uses the outro music in this game for one of the main themes here. Oh, yes. This game just goes so hard on the music front. I haven't played this game much, honestly, but it's just always a good one to test MIDI stuff on. Really, I didn't realize that. Alright, so we're on the SC-55 map right now. We'll switch over to the 88. Varies from game to game, right? In this case, I don't think we hear a huge difference, so... Cheat codes. We're in the jukebox now. Yeah, and it's like mentioned several times during the stream here now, but just the amount of things that you can kind of re-explore when you can dip into the MIDI stuff. It just, yeah, it's just, that's what I had so much fun with, like when I built the MIDI tower, and I do really want to make a video on it, and I really not quite sure how the format's going to be yet, but that's true. You gotta have the explosion sounds and the dog barkings and all that stuff. How I'm going to make the video on it, but I like to show off the tower at the very least, because it's just, I've been spending a lot of time on that, just listening to different things. I can go over the, I'm not sure if it's going to be like a more of a fully structured video or just kind of a rambling one, but it's it to get back in the video making, I think. This, yeah, iconic for me. Soundtrack. This game in like desert. I mean, I'm not gonna say it like that, but it feels like I've seen like meme videos of like, you know, hey, we need a pause music for GoldenEye when he looks at the watch. Can we just whip something together and make this just fantastic grooving like bass heavy track? Nice. That's the thing too. It gets a little addictive because every device sounds a little different, right? So it's hard not to keep an eye on used MIDI devices. And they all sound, most of them sound, you know, a little bit different. One that I kind of had my eye on was the SD7, which was like a first almost, like it's a beige box before SD55, and it's got general MIDI compatibility, but it was made for like gaming. It was made to be plugged into a gaming machine because it is just very basic, sparse front. With just like on, and that's it, and volume. Not that this one has too much, but you can at least see the instrumentation happening, right? So, back to 55 mode. I think really the only thing that changes is the bass, honestly. Lap bass. what's interesting to look up is it's interesting to look up the games that were composed on some of these. I believe, I could be wrong here now, I think I read that the Mario 64 soundtrack was made on a Roland SC-88. Like, some of those things were, you know, this was musical device used for composing music. So you know, like, it's easy to forget that as we're messing around with them for gaming purposes, but... So you said ow, unlike Smeg. It's great. Boy, they had fun with this game. Yeah, this soundtrack is something else. It likes so many varied tracks too. And I will admit, like I said earlier too, that the MIDI tower, when I look at it, it's a lot of dancing blinky lights, because I have an MT32, which can't really do much, right? It shows the notes, even though it can't support general MIDI, but it still blinks and stuff. And I got two other MIDI modules with actual full displays on it, and they dancing and everything. I got a mixer that has like meters on it dancing, and you know, MIDI lights blinking and stuff. Like, it's a treat just to look at it when the MIDI stops going. And I have a mixer I can change, which it's very similar to what the LGR tower is when he built his, with being able to kind of mix in and out the different MIDI devices as needed, so or as I want to. And again, like I mentioned earlier too, I keep saying that a lot now, is that the math for this, like, it runs in SC-88 mode, and it uses the SC-88 instrumentation to map to 55. So it's not technically an SC-55, but, you know, to layman's ears and playing like this, I don't think anyone's going to question it, but if you put them next to each other, I'm sure they don't sound exactly right. Like an SC-55 versus an 88 in SC-55 mode will not sound exactly the same. They don't have the same instrumentation set, so... But that's really nitpicking, and we don't like gatekeeping in this hobby, so... We forget also, like, and that's interesting in the juxtaposition when listening to MT32, it's got a very unique, specific sound set. But these devices were made for composing, right? The people were using these to compose, you know, quote-unquote regular music, not just video game music. So that's why some of these have such like a, yeah, like you mentioned, clean sound, and something you don't think too much about, I guess, as we're messing with them. There's several, I've seen there's a few videos, or not videos, but soundtracks on YouTube from a Power series, and it's new music composed with the different like MIDI devices, and it's a really treat to listen to as modern composers with no limitations and what these devices can do, compose new music, and some of it's really good. They have different ones focusing on SC-55, they have different ones focusing on the Yamaha ones and the mixture or whatever, so... Yeah, exactly. I have an MT32 Pi sitting here as well, and that was my plan, to have it hooked up to the streaming one. I probably will still hook it up here in sequence with the 88 here, so that I can use it for MT32 purposes, because those two together, when we're streaming, I don't need a huge MIDI stack here. Just for my own enjoyment, if you will. Plus, I can't fit the frickin' MIDI tower here. It's huge. Like, I literally got like a rack mount wood thing and just filled it with stuff, so I went overboard. ridiculous game, really. All right, Remnant, have a good one. I'll see you later. It is nice to start with... Whoops. I did. Didn't pay attention to anything there. It is nice to start a little earlier, so that by the time we end up the stream here now, we're going to end here pretty soon. It doesn't end close to midnight, at least my local time. Yep. I am very, very good at video games. Stop bouncing. I've never was very good at this game. I also didn't play it very far. I never did play the Night Dive remaster this one too, right? Maybe not as comprehensive as they've done the other ones, but... Seems like a generally bad place to be. So I need the God power. God mode. Boy, they had fun with this one. I've heard, like, I've seen videos and people complaining about it, but, like, not being as good as it should have been or something, but... Nothing beats a dog mode in this, though. Yeah, I was gonna say, the dog mode is hilarious. Damn God. Oh. Oh. Oh well. Whoopsie. Yeah, this is... I think it's the music that... I can't remember which one it is, but yeah, Civi11, which is a really funny YouTube channel, uses a lot of this Rise of Triad music like this in his outro and stuff. That's right. Yeah, I was terrible at this game. I haven't played that much, honestly. I got it set up too. I'm not sure why the heck Windows 11 or Windows 11 3.11 didn't run either on this machine, because I set it up just for convenience sake and now it won't even launch. So, but honestly, as soon as the Pico IDE comes out, I'll probably rebuild this machine completely, take it apart and clean it, and then yeah, put the Pico IDE in it. I also have plans to fix up. I have a Gateway 2000P 575, very similar to my wife's first real computer, so I'd like to fix that one up too, because she used to, like, you know, HTML code and hack late into the night and compose music on it, so that would be fun to fix that one up as well. I was going to say, in Windows 3.11, I wanted to set up MIDI in there too, because I know how to use MIDI in Windows 95. It's pretty easy. But I haven't messed with it on 3.11, so I like to mess with that too. Brutal. Do not distribute. Sure. No, I won't. Absolutely not. Maybe check something out real quick before we call it here, but funny, Extreme Assault has MIDI music. That's pretty good, but the game runs like dog on here. Very, very, very sluggish and slow. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think the biggest thing with... You know, I don't think I have Raptor on here. I have to get that. Oh, never mind. I mean, I have Raptor on here. Of course I do. General MIDI. Sweet. Well, easy. What's the command to run it? Rap. Yo, I'm hip. I'm with it. Right? Critical file missing. Install. Select a drive. Available drives. None. Okay. Hello. I am going to butcher your name if I try and say it. So, hello, welcome. Can't. Yeah, it doesn't even work. What's the error? It was missing the file ed.dis. Huh. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I tried. In the installer, I'm hitting C here furiously, but it won't let me do anything. Was there a install.ini in here? Orange. Yeah, it's no available drive. Something's really broken there. But the file, it's not a... What's the file? Yeah, file ID dis. I thought that was a generic file that was used for other installations too. Or am I just dreaming that? The games. Maybe it's just a specific installation file, so I can grab a new one, but a little too late to do a new copy of it, so I'm not sure why it broke there. I'm gonna guess I installed it, but then never got around it, so. Yeah, it's true. It should probably be extracting it from the installer, but I'm not sure why the installer won't run. Or at least I can't modify it. Catalog. Apogee Software Catalog. Yeah, if I could specify the drive, it doesn't see anything. Maybe it doesn't like being on the same source destination drive. Oops, I think I froze it up. Yep. Soft locked it. Typed too many times. Yeah, that will search the whole thing. I forgot about the command for that, but that should do it too. Aha. That's cold or hard reboot number 5. So it is a retro computer. To say the least. So yeah, for those that are joining us late here now, this is running on a 46. As you can see there, DX4 100 megahertz, a HP, like Spectra typical home machine you would have had for the era. But upgraded them with the memory and the processor pretty recently. The 4666 that was in there before was pretty sufficient, but then I had the opportunity to upgrade it, and it does play a lot of those games a lot better, so. Ah, there it is. Epic Pin. Found it. I knew there was other games that had it. Games. Raptor. Copy. C games. Epic Pin. File id.dis. Copied. Wrap. Now it's modified. They must be unique for each one. No, not Pentium Overdrive. I just dropped in. It's I forget what it's called, but it's one of those Cyrix processor thing that goes to 133. Something like that. It's one of the faster 486s, but I'm running it at 100 because I didn't want to push it and put a fan on it. So, um, that's true, Mike. That's like not cool. You got to keep it correct. So that's the weirdest part. Yeah. Oh well. No Raptor it is, so I'll have to figure that out. We can check out one thing more maybe then. It's going to get time to pack it in. It's getting pretty late. Or I did all the classics. We did Monkey Island, not sure. Dismay there. I think Lotus 3 supports Roland. But I don't know that it supports General MIDI. But let's see. Yeah, it does. But it does not sound right at all. At all. It was made for the MT-32. It's the steel drum version. A little bit better with the SC-55 mode, but... yeah. Yeah, because it's expecting... yeah, it sounds a little fast. This is not random steel drums in there. This is a game that, you know, was not... it's considerably older than this machine is. Enough of that. Got the hanging note there hanging on. Oops. Okay, I don't want to do set up a work group. No, thank you. Yeah, it's still hanging out there. Alright, I'll stop bugging everyone there now. I think we had another crash there. That might be the sign that that's enough, but it was a good run while we had it. For those arriving late, then yeah, we tried a whole bunch of games earlier, all the classics. And we went through Doom, Doom 2, you know, Descent, Duke Nukem 3D, and all that stuff. And it's fun to just... I wanted to have this available here in the streaming setup so I can very easily play games with MIDI. Now, that said, obviously, MT-32 thing is a whole here now, but I'm probably going to plug in the MT-32 Pi again and use that as MT-32 because I do have an MT-32, but it is a rack mount in my MIDI rack, and it's not something I want to drag over here or unplug because it is just a wire nest over there now. But I'll probably plug in the MT-32 Pi so that I can have that for that purpose here, because between those two devices, that covers most of what we use for streaming. So, you know, you can go overboard way easily with that. And especially with the MT-32 Pi, you can select different sound fonts. You can try out different ones too. Although I did have trouble finding... I wanted to try out the Yamaha sound font or the SC-88 sound font, things like that. And some of them are harder to find than others. Some don't have good captures or whatever, so... either way, even though we started earlier, ending up pretty late here now, but I'm hoping to stream more as well. Again, I said I'm not sure it's going to be every week, but we'll see. Well, next week I might stream again, so just keep an eye on Discord and Blue Sky and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's fun to stream, get back in. I will try and work on a video soon. I'm hoping to. I really want to get back into it and make a video. It's been a long time, so... But anyway, I appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out tonight. I'm just rambling because I'm tired. I only had one soda. I usually have two. So anyway, thanks so much for hanging out. It was fun trying out some MIDI stuff. And we'll see you all online or maybe next time. So, bye. And it's been so long, I had to find the buttons now where you turn off. Found it. Good night.